lot of people think if they have a star note that they have something incredibly valuable, but the reality is most star notes are only worth their face value. For example, if you have a $1 bill with a star at the end of the serial number, chances are your bill is worth $1 or $2 at most. There are some star notes that are worth a lot more money than just $1, and in this video we're going to go over a few examples of notes that sold for a lot of money. Let's hop right into it. So let's start off with this first note right here. So this one is listed on eBay right now for $898, and I will tell you right now that this bill is not worth anywhere near that amount of money. You can also see that this bill has some ink on it. It is very heavily circulated, and by that I mean that it went out into circulation, it crossed people's hands, it went into purses and wallets. This is not a note that's worth this much money. But how do you know if you have a star note that's worth a lot of money? So let's hop into this pack. This is a pack of 100 $1 bills, so there's a face value of $100, but this pack sold for $400, so each one of these star notes is worth $4. You can go to your local bank and pick up a pack of 100 $1 bills, and you can have the chance of getting a star note. Now, it's really important to even know what exactly is a star note. Why do they have a star at the end of the serial number? They're pretty cool, they're pretty unique, and honestly, whenever I come across one out in circulation, I hold on to it just because I'm a bit of a nerd. But what are they? So essentially, during the printing process of US paper money, these bills come in large sheets. And during the printing process, there are times where there can be a quality control issue and there can be a large error or mistake on the sheet of notes. This sheet of notes would be marked with a red marker called a BEP rejection mark, and the entire sheet of bills would be destroyed. For bookkeeping purposes, the BEP, or the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, must still produce the same number of bills even though they just destroyed a sheet of bills. So essentially, let's say that there were 10,000 bills that had an error on it and they destroyed 10,000 bills. That means they need to produce 10,000 star notes, so the number of bills produced equals the same amount that they were told to produce. This is the important part right here. Depending on how many errors were in a specific print run will depend on how many star notes there are for a specific print. Now, depending on if there are more or less star notes for a specific run will dictate how much the notes are going to be worth. It's a simple supply and demand thing. If there were hundreds of thousands of bills that needed to be destroyed and reproduce as star notes, then those stars are going to be worth a lot less than, say, if there are only a few sheets of bills that needed to be reproduced. So again, this pack of $100 bills sold for $400. Now, one thing you really got to look out for if you're buying or selling on eBay is fake listings. So these are 2017A star notes, and it's a set of different districts. So you can see at the start of the serial number there is a letter. Depending on which letter is at the start of your serial number will dictate which district that bill is for. Another very important thing to know is that just because your bill says series of 2017, that doesn't mean that they were printed in 2017. For example, $2 bills today are still being printed in 2022, but they still say series of 2017. That's because every year they don't want to have to reproduce the plates, say in a different year, and there's other reasons that I'm not going to get into in this video. But on this listing right here, these bills sold for $500 total, and there's only one bid on this auction, so I'm nearly certain that this is not a real listing. Be careful if you're ever buying star notes or anything online. You want to do your homework, do your research. I have a completely free ebook that goes over coin and banknote handling, grading, and values. All you got to do is click the link below, but you don't have to do that. Just keep doing your homework and research, and be careful if you're ever buying star notes. Unless you just really enjoy collecting star notes, the majority of them are not going to be worth that much money unless you have a bill like this. Now, this bill sold for $10,925. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because it becomes very apparent very quickly as to why this bill sold for so much money. If you look at the serial number, you're going to see what's called a solid number 2 serial number, and it has a star at the end of the serial number. So if your bill has a fancy serial number, which this is considered to be, then you could have a bill worth a lot of money because this bill sold for $10,925. Now, before we hop into the last note really quickly, it's important to know that condition is so important on your bills. If your bill has a fold on it, you're pretty much cutting the price in half depending on what it is. Every little nick, scratch, tear, fold on your bill will decrease the value significantly. This pack of 100 $1 bills sold for $47,437. Serial number 1 notes are arguably some of the most valuable bills out there. The fact that this has a serial number 1 through 100 on this pack of $100 is crazy. So not only do you have serial number 1, but you have serial number 2, 3, 4, etc. all the way up to 100. I'm not surprised whatsoever that this pack of $100 bills sold for almost $50,000. And remember, this pack is uncirculated. That means it never went out into circulation. Whoever came across this pack of bills, they went to their local bank and they asked for, hey, can I have 100 $1 bills? And they just got so lucky that the bank teller back then gave them this small little strap of 100 $1 bills that was a star note and a serial number 1 through 100. If you enjoyed this video, you'll definitely enjoy the video on the screen now.